It's that time of the month where we like to bring you some indie games and other smaller titles to your attention. Today on gameranx, here are 5 smaller yet awesome games of June 2018. Starting off at number 5, we have Rekt Fest, a demolition derby racer. This isn't your average racer where you're going from point A to point B, because here you're trying to take out other cars as you're trying to cross the finish line. Seeing that that's the point of the game, the crash mechanics here really work great. It's almost like each car is pretty much a shitty soda can that just gets busted up super easy. Car customization is also really big here, not just being able to upgrade the color and physical appearance, but also the car's armor, which protects you from damage, but also helps you to cause more damage to other cars. So you can really get the exact car you want, whether you want to focus on being faster or being able to deal more damage. There's multiplayer to play with friends, and also a single player campaign where you'll be earning money to unlock more cars and customization options. There's also some challenge modes to play around with as well, so if you want to drive around on a lawnmower and crash into dudes, you're able to do that as well. Overall, this game seems like it could be a really fun time, especially if you love crashing into shit. Moving on to number 4, Totally Accurate Battlegrounds is one of the newest additions to the Battle Royale genre, but it's actually a goof. This was originally made by Landfall as an April Fool's joke, which they've been doing for the past few years, but this particular joke is a goof on Totally Accurate Battle Simulator and Battle Royale games. Even though it's a joke, it's actually a lot of fun, and it's also really funny. The physics in this game are unreal, and they can have you literally laughing out loud at how ridiculous it is to get killed by a shotgun and get blasted across the map like a ragdoll. Unfortunately, since release, hackers have made their way into it to start ruining it for everyone like a bunch of jerks, but the devs are working to prevent hacks from being a thing, so maybe check it out. It's pretty cheap, it's like $5, and it's just a really fun time. Definitely not something that's going to replace PUBG or Fortnite if you're playing those games, but still just a good old fun time, and it's worth checking out. Next up, at number 3, we have Sushi Striker, The Way of Sushido. Last year, Battleship Brigade showed us that fighting people with food is a straight up blast, and this year we get Sushi Striker. This game has a ridiculous story with the world being without fish or sushi because of the Empire outlawing it. And you play as an orphan who soon finds themselves as part of the Sushi Liberation Front, a resistance group fighting back against the Empire. Yes, I said Sushi Liberation Front, so just take that in, take a minute to try and figure that out. And while the story may seem ridiculous, the production value is actually very surprising, with there actually being full-fledged cutscenes and voice acting and stuff like that. Gameplay-wise, it is kind of like Battleship Brigade. Not exactly the same, it's just that both games use a puzzle game type thing for its combat. Here you'll be fighting opponents on a 7-lane sushi conveyor belt with different colored plates of sushi running past you. Your goal is to build combos by collecting plates of the same color and eating the sushi to then collect the plates to later throw at your opponents and deal damage. And it can get a little hectic because you're trying to build up as big combos as you can, and one of those lanes is shared, so your enemy can take some of the sushi from that shared lane, and it can just get a little overwhelming. But overall, if you're into puzzle games and if you like Battleship Brigade, it's similar to that, so you're probably gonna have a pretty good time with the combat system here. Everything about this game comes off as super ridiculous, but it's definitely part of its charm, and I think it's worth checking out. Moving on to number 2, we have The Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit, which is a new game from Don't Nod, the people that brought you Life is Strange, and this actually does take place in the Life is Strange universe. Here you play as Chris, a 10-year-old boy with a powerful imagination who imagines that he has superpowers. And this takes place 3 years after the events of Life is Strange in the town of Beaver Creek. You'll follow Chris through his Saturday morning as he runs around playing, and you'll learn more and more about him as the day goes on. About his mother who isn't in the picture anymore, his father who struggles with alcohol abuse, and probably have a run-in with a supervillain or two. A developer from Don't Nod stated that Chris was actually a character that they came up with during the development of Life is Strange 2, but instead gave him his own one-off game because they really wanted to do a deep dive on the character. I don't know about you guys, but I'm absolutely in love with Life is Strange. It was one of my favorite games the year that it came out, and while Before the Storm definitely wasn't on the same level as the first one, it's still good, and I'm really excited to get my hands on this one. This new game definitely gives off an Essex County vibe. It really reminds me of Leicester, and if you haven't read Essex County by Jeff Lemire, please just go do yourself a favor and read it. But yeah, I'm just excited in general to get my hands on new Life is Strange stuff. Finally, at number 1, we have Hollow Knight, which has been out for some time now, but it got announced a while back for Switch, and it's been taking forever to come out, but Nintendo did a surprise release at E3 and released it right then and there, and everyone is pretty damn excited. So for some reason you haven't heard of Hollow Knight before, this is a Metroidvania game, but also kind of like a Souls-like game. I don't mean a Souls-like in the sense of the combat. It doesn't play like Dark Souls, Bloodborne, or The Surge at all. Gameplay-wise, it's definitely more of like a Metroidvania. Although just like the Dark Souls series, a lot of these bosses are very memorable and will require a certain strategy to beat them. And much like Souls games, when you do die, you lose your geos, which are the equivalent of souls, and you then have to go back, kill an enemy that has them, and collect them. In terms of it being a Metroidvania game, it's much more like older Metroid games where it's more about getting lost and exploring that way, not powering through to the next objective. I mean, you don't even start the game off with a map, you have to actually buy one from a character, and until then, you're left finding your own way by exploring. Hollow Knight is super charming, and it's definitely going to become one of those games that's a must-play third-party non-Nintendo Switch title, right up there with Stardew Valley and Celeste. And those are 5 smaller yet awesome games of June 2018, but we want to hear from you, so meet us down in the comments and let us know what you think. Which of these games are you most excited to play? And maybe recommend some other smaller games for everyone to check out. And as I'm sure you already know, hitting the like button really helps us out, and if you're new here for some reason, subscribing is a good idea because we put out videos like this every single day. As always, thank you for stopping by to hang out with us, we really appreciate it, and we'll see you next time, right here on gameranx.